Australia-based think tank Lowy Institute says the Philippines has the second worst pandemic response in Southeast Asia. Over 40 MRT personnel have tested positive for COVID-19, including some of its officials. Because of this, the Transportation Department is considering the suspension of the train's operations. Careful with what you read online. The Health Department warns about the use of gout medication, Colchicine, as treatment for COVID-19. And check out the Philippine Navy's cold storage ships, which will be used for coronavirus vaccines once these arrive in the country. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. Starting today's newscast with the entire province of Cebu's COVID-19 situation now being deemed as a serious concern. The OCTA research team explains that while trends continue to level off in Metro Manila and many other parts of the country, including the northern provinces with the UK variant, the Cebu province's COVID-19 cases continue to soar. Because of this, the team believes that the new variant could already be spreading in various parts of the province. The latest OCTA research data shows Cebu averaged 147 new cases over the past week. This is a 67% increase from the week before, even when it only logged 11 cases during the holidays. The reproduction number in the area over the past week was at 1.57, which is much higher than the R0 for the entire Philippines. While the positivity rate was even at 6%, despite PCR testing increasing by 10%. If this trend continues, experts warn that the province may reach an average of 400 cases in 2 weeks, which was its daily case count when the area was placed under enhanced community quarantine. Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Banat reports that 2 barangay halls and a grocery in Cebu City have been placed on lockdown since January 26, after some of its personnel tested positive for COVID-19. Cebu officials refused to identify the locations of the 2 barangay halls, but they have said that they've started contact tracing efforts in the area. The grocery store has been closed off for disinfection, while infected patients are undergoing quarantine. This from Business World, the Philippines scored poorly in its anti-COVID response, ranking 79th of the 98 countries in a study by the Lowy Institute. The country is listed as the second worst among Southeast Asian countries, besting only Indonesia. New Zealand topped the list, followed by Vietnam, Taiwan, Thailand, and Cyprus. The Sydney-based think tank measured performance by tracking cases, deaths, and tests, among others. And the Philippine Star reports top officials of the CBCP have expressed their willingness to publicly receive COVID-19 shots to boost the public's vaccine confidence. CBCP also allowed church facilities to be used as vaccination centers, especially in areas where large venues are needed. A lawmaker is pushing for both direct and indirect assistance for small businesses to help them cope with the pandemic. Speaking on 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Bayan Muna Party List Representative Ferdinand Gaite says stimulus packages passed by Congress are still inadequate to help MSMEs affected by the lockdowns. Gaite stressed that direct and indirect subsidy are needed to keep small businesses from closing or scaling down their operations. Gaite notes that small business workers must also be assured that they will not lose their jobs amid the crisis. The lawmaker is likewise pushing for a wage hike for MSME workers.
Yung stimulus ay very inadequate, no? Napakaliit na tulong sa mga manggagawa. Ang binigay lamang ay a range of 5,000 to 8,000 pesos. Tapos twice lang binigay under Bayanihan 1. Yung Bayanihan 2 ay hindi pa nga fully implemented.
The IATF could possibly recommend another suspension of MRT operations. This as more than 40 of its personnel, including its general manager and director, have tested positive for COVID-19. Gerard de la Peña gives us the story.
The gates of the MRT3's depot in Quezon City are heavily guarded. Only a select few may pass. Photos from the MRT management shows MRT employees wearing personal protective equipment. That's after a total of 42 employees tested positive for COVID-19 since last week. 36 of them are depot office personnel, while 6 are from the maintenance floor. Among the high-profile cases, General Manager Rodolfo Garcia, who is now in an undisclosed hospital's intensive care unit. Director for Operations Michael Capati also got infected. Another employee, meanwhile, died of the disease.
As soon as we heard about that initial case, we immediately conducted contact tracing, and at the same time, we also shifted yung workers natin doon sa MRT3 Depot office into a work-from-home arrangement. So siguro mahalaga na i-emphasize na yung concern natin ng mga MRT3 personnel are those that are reporting doon sa opisina.
The rest of the positive employees are in isolation. The Transportation Department hopes this will not lead to a suspension of operations similar to what happened in July 2020 after over 200 MRT personnel tested positive.
Pag sinabi halimbawa ng mga nangangasiwa IATF, Department of Health, at yung mga rail sector namin na nasa peligro na yung operation, ay titigil ko yan.
Philippine National Railways General Manager Jun Magno meanwhile says there's enough manpower to support normal operations.
Ang mangyayari, maghihiraman yung other networks, other rail networks para tulungan ng MRT3 kung saan may breakout. So pag kunyari may breakout yung isa, make sure yung iba hindi magbe-breakout.
While some passengers worry about their safety, they'll take the trains nonetheless.
Siyempre natatakot din, pero para sa akin, convenient kasi sumakay ng MRT kaysa mag-bus dito.
Dadasal na lang na walang mangyaring sakit, ganon. Yun lang naman, yung lakas na loob para mawala yung fear.
The DOTR assures commuters the MRT is safe.
So far, wala pa tayong reported na COVID-19 case among our station's personnel, and naka-confine ito doon sa ating mga mostly or actually almost entirely doon sa mga office personnel natin sa MRT3 Depot.
The DOTR plans to implement the usage of the Stay Safe PH app for contact tracing among passengers. But the integration of its own systems to that of the app may take quite some time. For now, the agency says it will just let passengers use its own app, so they won't have to manually input their personal data. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Health authorities are warning the public against the use of anti-inflammatory drug Colchicine to treat COVID-19. Canadian researchers earlier reported that colchicine can reduce complications related to the coronavirus. But Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says the public must still wait for sufficient data to support its efficacy in treating COVID-19 patients. Vergere assures Filipinos that the country's experts are already conducting trials to prove the claim. Meanwhile, the FDA warns the public over counterfeit losartan potassium tablets, medication used to treat hypertension. To spot the fake, the FDA encourages the public to check whether the blister packaging uses the same color and font of the original product. The FDA also tells the public to always check the label and buy losartan tablets only from accredited drugstores. The FDA also cautions the public from using the SM Bonus brand of Sebo de Macho, a popular cream used to remove scars. In an advisory, the FDA calls this an unauthorized product. The agency also notes that the use of substandard products may possibly result in adverse reactions like skin irritation or itchiness. With vaccine supplies expected to arrive as early as next month, the Defense Department is confident that 4 of their Navy ships, equipped with medical-grade freezers, are all set to be used for distribution of these shots. Patricia Mangune with the details.
This ship is geared up for battle. Battle against COVID-19, that is. The BRP Davao del Sur is one of 4 Philippine Navy ships touted by Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana as ready and capable to assist in the distribution of vaccines to some of the country's islands. Currently docked at Manila's South Harbor, the vessel has 2 walk-in freezers in its kitchen, used primarily to store the crew's fresh meat and vegetables. But once shots arrive, the freezers can be converted to store the vaccines, one of which has a temperature of up to negative 20 degrees Celsius and can store shipment the size of more than 1 container van.
Nagpe-prepare na kami so that pag dumating yung time na itatas kami na mag-distribute ng vaccines or any other missions na ibibigay sa amin, ready kami. Right now, We are readying our machineries para anytime na uutusan, makakaalis na kami.
The Philippine Navy assures proper sanitation measures will be in place.
We will coordinate with our health personnel how to sanitize before we will board the said vaccines.
Should the available storage space not be enough, the ship can also accommodate chest-type freezers. The tank deck, usually used for Army trucks or tanks, can also carry up to 7 container vans with built-in cold storage.
Kung ito ay kakailanganin, mayroon naman tayong additional na cold storage facilities na ma-on-board sa barko. Made that before, during our missions. We used chest-type freezer as alternative kung sakaling kakailanganin natin para sa pagkain. At yung pangiba, yung cold storage facility na mga cold storage container vans, and naranasan na po natin.
Aside from the BRP Davao del Sur, the Philippine Navy also has BRP Tarlac, the Gupan, and Bacolod, which are also equipped with cold storage facilities. The DND estimates that all 4 ships can transport up to 5 tons of vaccines. For News 5, Patricia Mangune. We are One News.
Here are the stories to watch out for later today. The government's vaccine code team will visit hospitals and LGUs today. Secretary Carlito Galvez will lead the team in the city of Manila, while Health Secretary Francisco Duque will visit the PGH. The Health Department will be launching the second phase of the National Immunization Program against measles and polio. Secretary Duque will also be in attendance in General Trias, Cavite. And U.S. President Joe Biden signs a series of executive orders on access to affordable health care. He says this aims to undo the damage caused by his predecessor, Donald Trump. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.